In this video, I'm going to go over a crime that was committed against me over and over and over because somebody else committed a crime over and over and over. And I'm going to help you understand what I go through when I was in the shelter. So, for one, the Lawrence shelter is a mess just to begin with. You have to poop next to people. You're literally just one open bathroom. It's just a mess. So we're not going to talk about that one because they don't care what you do there. I mean, literally. I mean, people bring in drugs and get high in the Lawrence one. But in Lowell, there's actual establishment. Plus, in Lawrence, you only get 30 days to stay in the shelter, and then you have to be out for 60. Then you can come back, but they don't allow you to stay at that shelter. The way in Lawrence it works is you show an ID and you get in. That's it. Doesn't matter if you're high, drunk, doesn't matter. But you only get 30 days total, and then you have to spend 90 days out, and you get no shelter. Most people go to Lowell or someplace else. So Lowell, Massachusetts, there's a main shelter that I used. They threw me out multiple times because I had to go to the hospital and I was disabled. I'm not even joking. They threw me out because of a disability. Now, why would a shelter be able to do that? How could somebody break the Disability Act and send somebody who's disabled out to get hurt? How could that happen? Because my disability isn't properly documented. My mother wanted to hide what was going on. Whenever I spoke about the overdose at age 7 or the Epicac punishment or my mother's insanity, none of that is recorded on paper. My nervous system issue, the fact that I was bumping into stuff for 25 years, the fact that I can't feel things in my hand properly so they fall, the fact that when I go out in cold I have seizures, I shake, I can't talk, and I get stuck. Also, every morning I get stuck. So it used to be worse during childhood because my mother was getting me all drugged up with Thorazine, Seroquel, Trazodone, Zyprexa earlier, Xanax during the day, Adderall or Ritalin during the day, Risperidone for multiple years until the point my nipples were having milk come out. All these things. There's much more medications than that. But you can see how I would be very exhausted by morning after taking all those drugs. So now I'm only doing a little bit. I'm doing whatever the doctor tells me to. I'm sober. I have no drugs in my system. And that's proven. How is it proven? The Lowell shelter will only let you stay if you pass a drug test. Now, I've heard they changed this recently. But back when I was staying there, 2012, 2013, 2014, you had to pass a drug test. They eventually did some winter stuff where they let you sleep on the floor, but that took a couple years to establish. But anyways, that has nothing to do with why I was thrown out. I got my stuff ready, put it under the case under the bed. After 2 days, they told me to take a shower. It's mandatory. I said, that's fine. Where is it? But I go down to a cold basement to take my shower, wide open, and I try to put the water on, and it's ice cold. I let it run for about 15 minutes, still ice cold. So I go back upstairs and I ask them, is there any warm or any water other than ice cold? They said no. I said, well, this is going to hurt me pretty bad. I'm going to shake. I'm probably not going to be able to get out of the shower. They said, why is that? I said, because I have something wrong with me. They said, do you have any documentation of this problem with you? I said, no. Then they said, oh, well, you have to take a shower. That's policy. We don't care what your disability is. You got to go down unless you have it documented on paper. So I go downstairs and I take a shower. Now, I get through the shower by sitting in this dirty, filthy, people are gross. I have to sit in it because my legs won't work. After the shower, I try to stand up to get the towel. But my whole body does a big shake and I fall down. But I can't get back up, and one other person's coming in. So he starts panicking and trying to get me help. After I get back together, after 30 minutes of other people panicking, they ask me to leave or tell me to leave because they think this is some motherfucking game. It's not no fucking game. It sucks balls to be like this and have other people play with you like you're a fucking toy. Like you don't have civil or human rights. Like when my mother played with me like I was a fucking toy. I am not a dog. I am not a cat. I am not a toy. I am a human motherfucking being. Why can't people start treating me like that? Instead of kicking me on the ground, burning me, trying to drug me up, twisting and making up stories about me, getting me on meds so they can get high in another room. I mean, this is fucked up shit. And when I tell the doctors about it, because I need medical help with my nervous system, what do you think they do? They play games. They play with me some more. They test me out and have me crawl across traffic. Not even joking. I had to crawl across traffic on my hands and knees. This is 108, one of the busiest streets. I'm crawling to get a CT scan done. I asked for a wheelchair. I asked for crutches. But my doctor once again treated me like a toy or a dog. I am so tired of this. I'm so tired of people writing in my file bullshit because my mother bullshitted them for 15 years. This is so fucked up, it's gonna kill me. And I'm lucky to be alive. I had a car a couple years ago run over my hair. I had an overdose that probably should have killed me at age 7. I've had so many. I froze to death on the river walk. Now, there was alcohol in my system, but there was a whole mix of problems there. I was trying to slap box with shadows. I was making my shadow hit somebody else's shadow, but when I moved my arm, my leg moved and jumped, and then I ended up like losing my balance because I had alcohol in my system, but I couldn't catch my balance because my legs didn't want to work properly. Even though the alcohol was helping, I had too much. So then I ended up kind of having a weird fall and hitting my head and then seizing and going unconscious. Now, like hours and hours and hours and hours later, they brought me to the hospital, frozen to death. They said that I was pronounced dead on arrival, but they brought me back. I don't know if that's true. The paperwork said my body temperature was in the 70s, and it was very, very clear I should have died that day. And what did my friends around me do to help me? They threw a blanket on me and robbed me. They're not even my friends. These are homeless people that literally I just have no. These are the best homeless people that are there, too. Kenny and his girlfriends are by far the safest homeless people to hang around. They are non-violent drunks. They don't believe in any violence. They're also very, very church-oriented. They go to the churches every day, even though these are not Catholics or Christians. So this was a good buddy to start out with who could show me the ropes. But they have no concern for my health or my safety, just like my mother. No, I mean, when you have your son in the doctor's office, say he lost his sight, he lost the ability to feel, he couldn't stand up, he was given a bunch of pills, and something changed in him that day, I would want to get to the bottom of that. If my son is bumping into stuff constantly and his shins are like getting cut up, or I would want to have multiple conversations about that. But instead, well, like for instance, if my son came up to me with a swimming medal, I would tell him, "Good job. Where did you win that?" "Oh, the orphanage." Oh, that's really cool. You're a great swimmer. We should put you in swim class, shouldn't we?" "Yeah, well, that's what we're going to do. You're a good swimmer, so we're going to do swim class." Nope, that's not what my mother did. What my mother did was call me a thief, a liar. She took my medal away, told me it must be an African American's medal, and then tried to establish that I had attachment disorder because my old last name, a G, was on the back of the medal. That is so crazy, it's not even fucking like, not even like good. I mean, it's evil. It's like downright evil. That's the word I'm looking for. It's downright psychotic mental health behavior. And nobody ever reported it but me. And I was 5, 7, and still to this day, I'm 31. I still can't get help for these things. And why is that? I got a father running away. I got a mother who died because she was taking drugs and alcohol for so long and acting so crazy. I got a family that is so old and moved on that they have their own lives that they're happy with. So, yeah, I'm just left to die. I have to die for other people's choices. Now, if I die from liver failure or anything to do with the hepatitis, I'll admit right here, that's my fault. Hepatitis, even though my drug use had to do with my neurological disorder, I made a choice. I made a choice. I made a choice to go to the doctor, tell the doctor, tell the doctor. None of that worked. After 15 years of making the choice to tell my teachers, my parents, the doctors, everything that's going on with me for years, I was always so honest about it. And then my mother would twist it up. I think if I kept my mouth shut, my mother still would have made up so much shit because she already did it. She already did it when I was like winning swimming medals. I mean, back then there was nothing wrong. But then my mother got her hands on me, started giving me overdoses and full bottles of Ipecac as punishment. So fucked up. Then when the teachers and the doctors start trying to get me help, she brings me to Texas and stops all medical care related to my coordination issue. Then by the time we get back in Massachusetts, they have no clue up and down. I mean, these doctors have no idea what's going on with me because my mother fucking hid it. She hid it so good. She took evasive action. She manipulated the system, and she commit crime after crime to cover up her original crime. Like, for instance, if you over OD a child and then don't get him help, that's a neglect crime. That's a crime called neglect, and there's a little more to it. But on top of that, then she trafficked me to Texas to avoid responsibility because eventually this would have came out. If we stayed in Westford and we didn't move, the doctors would have figured this out because I already was speaking up. I mean, you got a 7-year-old talking about he lost his sight, he lost his ability to feel his body, he can't stand up, he's crawling to a pile of newspapers to ask his father for help, his breathing slows down, and then he goes out like a light. That's very concerning. I do not think it's a good idea to move to Texas right after that. But my mother thought it was a good idea, and I was only 7, so I did whatever I was fucking told. If I was told to take drugs that would make me sick, I didn't have a choice. I didn't have no choice. This was jump when I say jump. If I did something like said no, I would get yelled at, smacked. Like, for instance, my mother wanted me to lie to the doctor about a schizophrenic type thing. She demanded schizophrenic drugs. I don't know why she wanted them, because it was very clear I'm not schizophrenic. But my mother really wanted these schizophrenic pills. And she wanted me to lie to the doctor to get them. That's pretty messed up shit, isn't it? Now I'm 31, can't get medical care, trying to work, and even when I go get a job, all this stuff fucks it up. I mean, when I try to touch a computer, I shake. Sometimes I fall on the ground if it's cold. God forbid I have to work outside again. Like, for instance, I worked for Buyers Associated, and I was fine. I mean, the lifting, I shook when I tried to lift, but I got it done. It was just move one thing to another. But they had a cooler section. That bothered me a lot. I had lots of trouble. I couldn't get my arms to lift. Things would get dropped. Sometimes I would trip. Whenever I had to go in that cooler section, I would turn on a bunch of heated jackets and vests. I would try to keep my arms on like double long sleeved. And then I would keep it just for that section. So I would get everything else done. And then right when there's time to work a giant warehouse cooler, I would go and get dressed fully and go in there. I had to. Nobody else did that. It was just a cooler. You grabbing something, put it on a cart, get the hell out. Nobody else dressed like that but me. I'm always asked, why are you overdressed? Why are you overdressed? Even in Texas, I was always asked, why are you overdressed? I've been asked that for 25 years. Why are you overdressed? Here's the answer, guys. My mother gave me an overdose. I have a neurological disorder. My nervous system is fucked up, and cold is very painful, causes a lightning type feeling going through my back and neck, goes into my arms and legs. Sometimes I even experience seizures. That is why I'm overdressed.